Children are our greatest investment. They are our future, and without them, we have no hope of a brighter future, of a better world. The greatest investment we can make is to invest in the lives of children all over the world, and especially the African child. At OCPN, we say, let the children breathe. I welcome you to the official launch of Osekalomen-Ofure Child Protection Network on Monday, April 22nd, 2024. I am Jude Usifoh Onegbedan, the Executive Director. I appreciate all those who have identified with this vision. I want to thank my wife, Mrs. Patience Edo Onegbedan, my daughter Ofure Onegbedan, my son Osekalomen Onegbedan, members of the board of directors, and every member of this organization. I appreciate Dr. Joseph Ekaria, Dr. Augustina Ikusemoro, Mr. Jude Usifoh, Pastor Clement Ighavongbe, Mr. Franklin Ajayi, who are all members of the board of directors. I also want to thank Mrs. Lawrenta Uabor Ebaimhon, Mrs. Joy Amuchi Onyemaechi, Dr. Ufuoma Omo-Obi JP, Mr. Solomon Essien, Mrs. Grace Ogbeide, Mr. Fidelis Omhonria, Mr. Samuel Akere Edobor, and Mr. David Trajo-Ogida. I also want to appreciate other members like Mr. Patrice odiboh, Elder Marcel Anegbode, and Mr. Francis Obeahon, who is also a member of the board of directors. I appreciate all of you for identifying with OCPN, for all your support and partnership. We have just started an exciting and rewarding journey, and I am trusting God to assist us all the way. Now, what is the story behind this organization? On February 28, 2024, my 7-year-old son, Osekalomen, came back from school with cane marks on his left and right legs. His class teacher flogged him for failing a maths test. That's a primary 2 pupil in a so-called private school. Such barbaric and inhuman treatment should not be meted out to any child. I took action as a parent. Immediately, I took photos of his injuries and sent to the proprietor of the school that evening. She didn't show enough concern. The following day, I went with my son to the school and made a formal complaint. I demanded an apology. I wanted to know who the class teacher was. My wife knows the class teacher, but I don't know the class teacher because I don't go often to the school for their PTA or open day activities. My wife does that. So I went there and I demanded to know who this teacher was. I was told the teacher was suspended and it was not in school. I wrote a petition to the governor of my state, Edo State, and the Honorable Commissioner for Education. I notified them of the inhuman activities going on in private school. Corporal punishment, I know, has been outlawed in government schools in Edo State, but it's still being perpetrated in some private schools. So I wanted them to take action immediately before another child was grievously hurt or killed or maimed for life. So I wrote a formal petition and went to the Ministry of Education to submit. I also posted on Facebook and tagged the government and other ministries. Then I decided to also change my son's school. That very day, I decided my son was not returning to that school. And so I changed his school. A few days later, I got a call from the Ministry of Education to come over. And I went, I met one of the directors, and I stated my case. I told them they needed to do more in monitoring what was going on in private schools. They needed to do more to ensure that the rights of these children were protected and that corporal punishment was outlawed in line with the national policy on education. So I took these actions and also decided to fight for every Nigerian and African child to ensure that their rights were protected henceforth. So that gave birth to Osekalomen-Ofure Child Protection Network. We want to protect the rights of every African child in school or out of school. And we also hope to educate teachers, parents, and guardians on alternative ways of enforcing discipline as a child or on a child. Scripture says, spare the rod and you spoil the child. The rod must not always come in form of corporal punishment. There are other ways to discipline a child. As adults, we have rights, so children have rights. 2 months after, those scars are still on my son's left and right leg. What about the emotional scar? What about his mental health? That has been addressed. He's happier now. He has made new friends. He's in a new school, a better school, which is even closer to our place of residence. OCPN is out to fight for the rights of children wherever they may be. Our vision includes to be an effective network of competent, caring individuals and organizations working to protect the rights of the African child, enhance their general well-being, mental health, education, and safety, while advocating to end all forms of injustice and abuse against them. Our mission are 1. To protect the rights of the African child and seek redress where such rights have been infringed upon. 2. To advocate for an end to the use of corporal punishment in schools and to seek justice for victims of such abuse. 3. To protect the mental health and general well-being of the African child. 4. To provide the African child with the right moral and educational tools to grow into responsible youths. And lastly, to educate parents, guardians, teachers of the African child on alternative methods of child discipline. Today, we officially launch this non-governmental organization. We hereby proclaim that OCPN is hereby officially launched to achieve its vision and mission to the glory of God and for the well-being of children all over the world, especially in Africa. Join us. Let's do this together. God bless you. Let the children breathe. See you soon.